morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is my name's Liz Gardiner, and as you know, I'm the evaluator on the Turning the Tide project, and I'm here today with Jenny Marketou, who was one of the artists in residence. She came from Greece to Vienna to work on the second of the artist residencies of Turning the Tide project in Seestadt in Vienna. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Liz. Nice to see you again.
Indeed. And I want to start by asking you, what attracted you to this commission?
Well, I was very fascinated when I read about Seestadt, first of all, as a city, as an experiment, as an idea. And especially that one of the main components of this urban design was this man-made lake, Aspern, Seestadt. Actually, Seestadt, in a way, means sea city. So, and as we know, it was built on a very old airfield, which has been covered. And instead, they created this idea of a sustainable, smart city, which also has this man-made lake, which in a way was very fascinating to me. And I wanted very much, because I have been exploring cities in the last few years, that they are coastal cities, one of which was Elefsina, capital of Europe. And I wanted very much to go explore, investigate, what does it mean, a man-made lake made out of fresh water. So that was my first response to this call.
That's great. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, it is a fascinating place, and I keep being told that there's no history in Seestadt, and yet, as you have pointed, the more we investigate, the more we uncover these layers upon layers of history. So tell me about your process. We're talking about socially engaged arts practice in the project Turning the Tide, and how that could potentially have an impact on conversations, and in particular, the conversation around climate change. So I wonder if you could tell me a wee bit about your process.
Yes, my practice is research-based and process-oriented, which means that I spend part of my time working on a project in a particular place and exploring the context, the history, the landscape, and working with the community. And usually I'm very interested to collaborate with people that are not necessarily artists, that they come from different backgrounds. So my work, I travel a lot, so I engage with different contents and histories, always in relation to the place. And what I want to say, going back to Seestadt and the man-made lake, is that water has always been part of my practice. And for a while, actually, I'm thinking, and I'm thinking of water in a more broader terms, as a political agent, as a blind spot for our colonial heritage, as an actor in history. And I have been thinking of water not as a backdrop, but as an active participant in our life, and how we interact with water. How water has shaped our life as humans, how water does things, and recently to how water can impact our future. And what can we learn from the water? By giving voice and personhood to water and the non-human beings. So I felt, going back to Seestadt, that the man-made lake, for me, it was incorporating a lot of these topics. And as you said, for me, it was very interesting to bring back not only, I didn't want to be there as a spectator, as someone who is observing and just capture what I see there. I wanted to investigate. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted exactly to bring back something of this history that didn't exist there. So that's how I got very involved in starting. When I went there, although I had another proposal, which was to intervene with the water directly, when I went to Seestadt and I looked into the environment, the urban landscape, the urban design, I decided that I had to bring something that brings back a memory, brings a heritage, brings something, another layer, which is
Great.
very, very connected with the water culture of Vienna.
Great, thanks, Jenny. And you know, I need to ask, what was it that decided you on the boat? And I think you've called the project "In the Belly of the Garden," and you brought a boat to the shore on Seestadt. Tell us about.
Yes.
Yeah.
The boat was something that as soon as I said I got it, started the residency, and I realized that my first idea was not doable for many reasons. First of all, I found out from Bernd that it was not easy to put an element into the water. It would require 3 months, especially to ask for permit. So I had somehow to, doing public art, you always have to be flexible because it brings a lot of other issues and sometimes even conflicts. So for this reason, and because I have been in the past doing projects in Vienna during the Art Week, I already had let's say a team of people that I knew. So I start looking into other options. And one of the options is to bring back something that was old, to reappropriate something, not to build something from scratch, but to reuse something, which also is very interesting as far as circular economy today that we talk about, and sustainability, talking about crises and emergencies, about climate crisis and emergencies. So with the help of a very good artist and a very good friend of mine, we start doing a lot of research and driving along the river, the Donau River, looking for old components, old material. And then I came across this beautiful boat, which I found out it was in what they call in the graveyard of boat. And that's where I found that it was built in 1905. It was used by the Viennese army to look for explosives in the river after the Second World War. And then it became used from the fire brigade. And third became a ferry bringing people back and forth. So that was my first connection, and with this beautiful boat, as you saw it, made out of wood. And the most important is a zille. And this is, I want to know, to say something, because zille, I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, maybe it's zille. So let's say zille or zille is a very, very known boat, very strongly connected with the water culture of Vienna. It goes back in 400 years old, is something that people use for boating, for fishing, for everything. So this boat also connects with the water culture of Vienna. And then I brought it, it was a lot of process, a lot of investigation, how to bring it over. We had discussions with Bernd, where we'll be located. And as you saw, we found a beautiful place to host the boat, which is by the lake. So that it is in dialogue with the lake. and also with the architecture and the landscape, which in a way is in contrast. So I brought something from the old water culture in dialogue with the new water culture, which is the lake.
Beautiful. And I heard comments like, you know, that boat looks as if it's always been there and Seestadt has grown up around it. So, you know, you really achieved something amazing there by introducing that heritage boat into the landscape.
Yes, sorry for interrupting. Yes, what did you want to say? I also want to add that when we brought, the idea was to this boat to be, you know, a host. Part of the boat, as you saw, hosts a seed garden. Part of the boat hosts, I left the space, people can sit, you know, reflect, spend some time, which what I'm trying to say that my idea was to allow people to get on the boat. And I wanted one small compartment also when the weather is nice to have books so people can interact. So there are many ways to interact because I'm very interesting for the community of Seestadt to engage with the boat not only as a sculpture, but I conceive now the boat as a place that brings people together, that it creates a space that people can plant. The idea is to use plants that they are very important for the environment and are inspired from the plants that they grow in the landscape of Seestadt, but also for people to mediate, to think about. And another idea that I have that I'm working on is to organize a series of events. So we have 4 seasons, around the 4 seasons to organize 4 events and to collaborate with the community, with other artists, with activists, with architects, with all kinds of people, and start having discussions, maybe performances, interventions around the boat, readings, poetry. This is my dream now, to activate the space and the boat and around the boat.
That's amazing. It's and where it's located, it's quite close to where there are some artists' activities already. So it's and I've seen people already standing by the boat having their photograph taken. So it's already becoming a landmark in Seestadt. It's only there for a limited time though. So what do you see as the life beyond? Is it Christmas 25?
Right, it will be, again, in my discussions with Bernd, he's, you know, who is our connection now with Seestadt at this point. I hope we can create more connections. You know, he hopes we may be able, depending when they will start construction on that side of Seestadt, to keep it there, or there may be another city or another place to be interested to move the boat, you know? That depends on who will be interested. But I have been talking with that curator, who is the curator of public art in Vienna in general. And actually she's going the first week of November to see the boat. So maybe she has some ideas. I mean, it's something that we should all, you know, it has to be collectively decided what will be the best. But me, I want first to figure out the first year, which is still next year of 2025, see how we can activate, how we can bring life, how we can bring the community. Already at school, actually, before I left, that morning was so moving to see all the school children around the boat. So they felt it was magic for them. It was magical actually for them to see this old boat, because for them it was, for these small kids, this big boat with so much history was almost, it was very imaginary, It was very beautiful.
You sent us pictures of that and it looked fantastic.
Yes, it was so
Yeah.
beautiful to listen to these little kids, how they respond and how beautifully, what I like about kids, and I always love collaborating with kids because they don't have any preconditions. They don't know as much as we do. So they respond with the intuition, with love, with imagination.
Indeed.
That's for me so precious.
Indeed, and I think what my aspiration was when I saw it was, because at the moment, if it stays in the condition it's in, it will eventually return to the earth, because it is going to disintegrate. But perhaps there's a way of bringing it back to life. I don't know. That would be a dream, to have it refurbished.
That means, we could. We can renovate a boat like this. It's important, but that needs another kind of funding, another kind.
Of course.
If I lived in Vienna, maybe I could achieve something like this. But I don't know. Maybe I have a feeling after now is too soon, but I have a feeling when I start working really on the first component, let's say on the first event, this may bring me into people that they may be interested,
Yes.
You never know. So those are things that sometimes you need time.
Indeed.
Yes. So I just leave it and see how it goes, how it flows.
And the conversation is started. Jenny Marketou, thank you so much. Congratulations on your project in the belly of the garden. It's a miracle. It's wonderful. And thank you for this conversation.
Thank you, Liz. I'm so honored to meet you in Seestadt. You have given me a lot of support and a lot of inspiration. And I'm so happy and honored to meet you. And I hope our roads will meet again.
Indeed. And I look forward to seeing what happens with the boat in the future.
I'll keep you posted. And maybe you can participate in one of the events, even virtually. So Liz, let's keep going. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.